John Borling is a highly decorated retired Air Force Major General who has served worldwide in high-level command and staff positions. A fighter pilot, he graduated from the Air Force Academy, the National War College, and was a White House Fellow. During the Vietnam War, he was shot down by ground fire. Seriously injured, he was captured while trying to evade and spent over 6.5 years as a POW in Hanoi. You'll hear more about that tonight. After a long career in the Air Force, he now occupies leadership positions in multiple civic and business organizations, including Synthonics and Ascent Exploration. He has also been the president and CEO of Chicago's United Way, and is also the founder and chair of SOS America, Service Over Self, a patriotic organization advocating military service for America's young men. A motivational political philosophy and business speaker, he is in demand across the nation, so we're lucky to have him here tonight with us to speak on his latest book, Taps on the Walls, Poems from the Hanoi Hilton. Please offer up a warm Seattle welcome to Major General John Borling.
Well, thanks. That was a pretty good introduction. You squirming on your chairs yet? Wondering, is this guy going to be any damn good or not, right? We're going to do something a little different, cranking up, and thank you all so much for coming. You had a flag line as you walked in, and those were the Patriot Riders of Washington, who make sure that we don't forget. And so, in a new tradition for Town Hall, it's my honor to ask you to stand as we present the colors. Post the colors. And if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Retire the colors, and thank you very much. Please sit down. I was commenting upon the introduction that Ware was gracious enough to offer, and when people start doing the recitation of credentials, it tends to, all those verbal thunderbolts tend to leave me speechless. Almost, you know. Okay. So tonight, we're going to explore together some subjects that I think are riveting to me, and we'll find out if they're of any importance at all to you. I think I'll begin with a Washington story. We've got some former White House fellows in the crowd, Nelson Dong, Steve Hill, others that I may have missed. I've also got some guys I flew with in the crowd, Mike Schoenfeld from the 94th Squadron, a classmate from the Academy from 1963, Mike Foley, I haven't seen Mike for a while, and others who may have stories that they want to tell, but I'm not going to let them, including some people from high school back on the south side of Chicago, Barb and Ron Mays. So it's fun to be back in the crowd of some folks who have known you a little bit. Also a bit intimidating, actually. I much prefer strangers because then you can just evoke. But starting with a Washington story, it's a tribute to Bob Dole. And he had a falling out with his speechwriter and had a major speech shortly thereafter. And so he walked to the podium, and there's the folder, as it always is, and he starts to open it up and told the crowd that tonight he was going to be pleased to offer solutions to the staggering economy. He was going to be offering as well considerations as to how we can really have affordable and effective and even universal health care. He was going to talk about refurbishing the military's equipment and to create an operational context that could be affordable and would be able to protect our interests on a worldwide basis indefinitely. He was going to talk about how he was going to cure the endemic problem of racism in the United States and bring us together truly in terms of shared values and one people. And at this point, he kept turning these pages. On every page, he would see that, and he finally turned the last page. And for those of you who are familiar with this story, it says, "Okay, USOB, you're on your own." And the nice thing tonight is I am not on my own, given the recitation again about people who are here who know me. But I'm trying to divide you up, because in the end, this is going to be an interactive kind of thing. Is that fair enough? So I think we'll do it Air Force-wise, and we'll cut you down the middle here. This will be A flight over here, okay? You're always the rowdy bunch, okay? B flight, you're cerebral, okay? No, Shoney's over. All right, he's cerebral, all right. Okay, that's B flight. So we got A flight and B flight. Over here, we're going to split you down here, and this will be, what do you think we're going to call you guys? Charlie flight. You got to be a little quicker on that. Maybe because maybe you're all Presbyterians on this side, I don't know. Or is it Unitarians? You know why Unitarians are such bad singers, by the way? I just thought I'd throw a theological note in here. It's because they're always reading a stanza ahead to see if they agree. All right, well, Mart Saul, who was a great stand-up guy when I was growing up on the south side of Chicago, and we go down and see him on Rush Street, and he said, free association can be abusive. And you're going to have to ride with me on these mental excursions as we go down tributaries of the mind that may or may not have anything to do with the book that we're here to discuss. By the way, my wife, Myrna, 50 years come this June. She's hung in there all this time. Well, I'm glad you recognize my contributions to that. Oh, it wasn't for me? All right, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't be for me. Anyway, but Myrna, when I talked to her, she's down in Phoenix, and we live outside of Chicago, up in Rockford now, but in kind of paradise. Eat your hearts out. If you like naked trees and frozen ground, perfect. This is Charlie flight, but she said, remember, she said, talk about the damn book. But so we'll get there. All right, this is Charlie flight over here, and if those guys were rowdy and these guys were cerebral, you are intensely feeling. Okay, so you have to come up with questions later that are kind of reflective of this. And Delta flight or dog flight, and I look at the characters who I know. Most of them are over here. Is there something about, hard right, or is this stage left, or, I'm not sure there's political circumstances here, but in any event, dog flight is going to be the ones the Delta flight, the ones you really count on when Charlie, Bravo, and Alpha let you down, so you guys are up for that. When I thought about the things I'd really like to talk about tonight, I stumbled. Because doing this book, Taps on the Walls, was not something we ever thought we'd do. And I'm talking about Myrna and me. The genesis of it and all of that we're going to go into, but the difficulty, of course, is that I have to go back to a time that was frankly an unhappy time. When I built huge walls over the years to make sure that I didn't have to go back and to be, quote, a professional POW. I do a lot of speaking around the country, but I rarely delve down as deeply into the subject as I should. And for those who've known me for a whole bunch of years, and in fact, the vice president of the senior class at Hirsch High School is here. Judy, how are you, dear? I haven't seen you forever. She was so, if you notice, she's war wounded here. She was so taken up with the fact that I came to town that she ran down for a triple decaffeinated or caffeinated latte or whatever they sell right here with coffee capital of the world, and managed to take a tumble and went down, and so she's injured on my behalf, I'm sure. But she sent her husband to the dinner last night, which I thought was, and he got away with it. Oh, he did. Anyway, we'll see afterwards. So having to go back and having to delve down has been a chore that has not been pleasant. On the other hand, we've had some tremendous conversations with people whose sense is that that period or the periods of the nation's